We gave you our official predictions for the 2025 college football season, and I think the Buckeyes are going to make some noise coming off of a national title caliber season. It's not really a surprise, but I think they're going to win the Big Ten, and I think they will once again, obviously, be in the college football playoff, not just because they win the Big Ten, but because they're going to have a great year overall. But I think there's not uncertainty for Ohio State, but there is maybe some question marks that people have. So let's unpack this together, shall we? Before we do that, if you're an Ohio State fan and you want more content around your Buckeyes, the best way to let us know that now is by subscribing to the channel. So we appreciate y'all in advance for locking in with us. So I think if you are unsure about Ohio State, one, that's your prerogative, but two, your first question about Ohio State or why you'd be uncomfortable is like, well, Penn State, they got returning quarterback in Drew Aller. Who's Ohio State going to have at quarterback? They still have to have a battle throughout the rest of fall camp. Is it Lincoln Keenholz? Is it Julian Sayin? Has Tavian St. Clair turn the tables and everybody shock everyone, have a killer fall camp and find a way to win that job? That would surprise me, but here's what I would say. Does anyone really think Ohio State's not going to have a guy at quarterback? Like even take the names that I just mentioned out of it. Just when you look at the Ohio State logo, you look at their track record. When was the last time Ohio State truly had a bad quarterback? A lot of people are going to be quick to say Kyle McCord. Kyle McCord, for all of what that Ohio State team didn't accomplish, he still finished second in the Big Ten in passing, and that Ohio State team still would have made the 12-team college football playoff had that been in place. So, yeah, it wasn't Ohio State standards, but, like, are we really thinking that any of those quarterbacks that I already mentioned to you a second ago with all the stars they have next to the name are not going to be a good option? Like, Ryan Day is not recruiting bad quarterbacks. And even if he did recruit a bad quarterbacks are made a whole lot better in that system when you're throwing a Jeremiah Smith, throwing a Brandon Ennis. We could go down the whole list of names they have guys to throw to, and we won't do that because that's going to save some time. But you hear what I'm saying. If you're worried about the Ohio State quarterback room, stop. It's a waste of time, waste of energy. You can break it down, kind of analyze it, and figure out what the strengths are, but it just overall, bad or good, I lean very heavily towards the good side of that equation. Well, maybe the next thing you say, if you're worried about Ohio State or you're not sold on them just yet, you say, well, JD, there's a lot of talent there, but a lot of unproven guys. And you're not wrong. There is a lot of unproven guys. But unproven at a place like Ohio State is different than unproven at a place that's maybe of a lesser recruiting tier. Ohio State's pretty much exclusively recruited in the top 5 of the recruiting rankings every single year since Ryan Day's been there. That's pretty much how they've gotten down. So just because we don't know all the names at a national level, there's a lot of guys that have waited their turn or have done their due diligence in the depth chart and are now about to ball at a very high level for Ohio State. And I said this on a previous video talking about Georgia, but the same thing applies for Ohio State. The laws of physics aren't changing. Big people, talented, strong individuals are still what wins in college football. Now you need other things to go with that. There's no way around that. But like if you have those key ingredients, that is the price of admission. I would be wildly shocked if even with the unproven, maybe less inspiring parts of this roster, maybe relative to Ohio State standards, it's still first world problems. You're still talking about which 5-star is going to step up, which top 10 position guy is going to step up from the high school level and start for us this year. Like, I'm not really worried about that. I'm not really worried about that, and I don't think anybody else should be either. Now, the other thing that people say is, well, complacency for Ohio State, right? Because they got to the top of the mountain, got the monkey off their back, probably felt good. And I hear that. I understand that. I don't even think that in a vacuum that thought is incorrect because you always have to fight complacency anytime you have success from one year to the next. But look at who Ohio State has on this roster. Look at all the guys that are going to be in new spots stepping in that just at a personal level feel like they probably have something to prove. Go back to the quarterback position. Doesn't matter who it is. The responsibility and the pressure that comes with being the quarterback at Ohio State in itself, I think, is enough to create some urgency within you. None of those guys last year started in that national title game. None of those guys started a game during the college football playoff run. They all have something to prove. At the most selfish level, you want to play well so you can go be a draftable prospect when it's your time to roll, right? Like that makes sense. Brian Hartline, we talked about him and what his career aspirations are, if we're reading between the lines here. Fair to assume he's a competitive individual. He wants to probably be a head coach in college football. He's been mentioned before for other jobs in a past couple of cycles. He's, I believe, said before he wants to get back to the NFL where he was a player at one point, wants to coach at that level. He got the chance now to call plays for the most talented or one of the most talented offenses in college football. He probably has something to prove. Matt Patricia calling the defense for Ohio State. Like everyone talking about what he was seen doing last at the NFL level. not having a lot of success. So, he wants to put some respect back on his name. So, there's a lot of new pieces for Ohio State at a number of levels. We haven't even mentioned all of them that I think have something personal to try and prove in this season. And with that being the case, that in itself, I think, will fight against the complacency that could potentially creep in. Now, I think last year's loss to Michigan and the national title run that went with that, for me, creates kind of a nice origin story around Ohio State, because you have this nice blend of the confidence within that program to say, if I'm Ryan Day, what we've done here, from the offseason to how we train to how our practice schedule to finding a way to elevate our team, our roster, what we do here works. That's verifiable to the degree of we won a national title last year with last year's roster. So the process we had in place, you're always tinkering and finding how to get the most out of what you're doing. But I think Ryan Day overall and this staff overall, you would hope there's a level of confidence that comes with what last year was. At the exact same time, with that confidence, there's also, you would hope, a touch of humiliation, embarrassment, to put it a more measured way, a sting from the Michigan loss at the end of last year. Because say what you want about the national championship and the college football playoff, those things are incredibly important for Ohio State. They are goals I would have to believe every single year. If you were to go in that building in Columbus and ask anybody what the goals are, I think they'd probably mention both those things. But right up there with those things is beat Michigan. That has not happened now for some time. And so with that being a box that's still left unchecked, I think that in itself also adds into the sense of urgency that this team is going to have. So the mindset for Ohio State, it's in a peculiar spot. Again, the confidence of, last year was awesome. We won a national championship. We are the champs coming into this year. Let's go defend that. Paired with, hey, we have real deal unfinished business. That is never okay to happen. It can't happen, especially after we just won a national title the year before. We got to go handle this. So all that's to say, what does that actually mean when you talk about the mindset? What does it actually equate to? Kind of like a rom-com. I may not all the time understand what's going on and why that girl left her plane flight at the gate to go be with that. I don't logically doesn't all the way check out, but I like the way it feels. I like the fact that it's a good thing where they run off into the sunset at the end. It's good vibes, it's good feeling. That's how I feel about Ohio State right now. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work out relative to how the Michigan loss plus the playoff run will impact this roster, but I like the way it feels. I like the way it sets up, and I think that's going to serve them well here in 2025. So Buckeye fans, let me know your expectations for Ohio State this upcoming season. Got a pretty good feeling what those are going to be. But let us know in the comment section below. Appreciate y'all locking in with us. For Caden Smith on the ones and twos, for myself, JD PicKell, it's football time. We will keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time.